So, welcome to another yoga class, and today you might want to have a strap within reach, maybe some bricks but not crucial today, maybe something soft for your knees or to sit on. And if it's cold like it is at your place, my place, maybe keep your warm tops on to start off with. I'm quite lucky, this is a heated room, so I can get away with a singlet. And we're going to start by lying down, so let's extend out along the floor. First of all, just get a little bit of length in the back there. And then if it feels right for you, we're going to extend the legs out and just check in with how the body's feeling. And as we take this time just to be still for a moment, remember that this practice is for you. We all have individual bodies, so please respect anything that's going on in your body at the moment. And if it tells you that something doesn't feel good, don't do it. Modify or leave the posture out. So focusing now on the breath, and you might want to take a nice deep breath in through the mouth, side out through the mouth. Let that go. And then closing the mouth, breathing through the nose. And breathing out through the nose. If you find that your sinuses are a little clogged, then breathe however you need to, but ideally we want to try and breathe in and out through the nose. Just following the breath from those nostril tips all the way down the throat into the base of the lungs, and then following that exhalation all the way back out through the nostril tips. Okay, so from here let's start to rotate into our wrists, into our ankles. So we just circle around the feet, the hands, and we'll go the other direction. Get some movement in those joints. Fabulous. And then we'll take the knees in towards the chest. So both hands around the knees and just a nice gentle little roll side to side. So we're just stimulating the back. And then we're going to release the feet to the floor. And we'll start off with some leg stretches. We're going to be doing quite a few standing postures today. So we'll do a quick hamstring stretch and then some inner and outer thigh stretches as well. So if you can take your strap and place it around the right ball of the foot, and we'll extend that up towards the ceiling. And I'm feeling my pelvis is level on the floor here. So my tailbone or my sacrum is feeling very grounded and connected with the floor. And I'm just letting the weight of this leg sink down into the hip joint and then finding the edge of the stretch. So a point where it's a little uncomfortable but not agonizing, not too easy. Just starting to wake up the back of the leg there. And then extend the ball of the foot up a little bit higher. So you'll notice when you take the foot up, it eases some of that intense stretch in the back. And then we'll bring the toes down, and that's going to increase it. And we'll go once more up towards the ceiling and down towards the floor. So this is just working a little bit on that sciatic nerve. And then we'll find a happy medium between those two extremes. And then maybe a little bit more out of that stretch if it feels like it's eased off. So I've got my shoulders relaxed. Back is nice and supported on the ground. And I just keep working with my exhale. So I'm relaxing on my inhalation, and on the exhale, seeing if I can guide that leg a little closer. And then maybe I have to back it off a little bit on the inhale. And then the exhale, just that little bit more, but I'm trying to relax as I do that. Okay, so If you're quite open in the back of the legs and you're able to bring the foot all the way up here, that's probably a little bit too much for the next set of stretches, so back it off a little bit. So we've got the heel more in line with the hip joint. If you're a little bit tighter in those legs and you're sort of down here, that's fine, just wherever you can manage to have that leg. And what we'll do is hold on to the strap with the right hand. We're going to reach the left leg out along the floor now. And you can either place your left hand on the thigh or you can anchor it to the ground. We're going to keep both buttocks connected to the floor. And then as we exhale, extend that right leg out to the right side. So we're opening up into the inner thigh, but I'm not letting this side lift off. So I'm pressing down through my left thigh, left buttock, reaching away through the strap there on the foot. If this is too intense for your hip joint or inner thigh or groin, what you could do is grab a little support and just place that underneath the thigh there if you need a little bit extra support. And imagine that we're doing our Trikonasana. So if we extend our left arm out, our triangle pose, this is sort of the form of triangle pose. All right, on the next breath in, we'll bring that leg back up towards the sky and we're going to change hands. So let's hold with the left hand, little movement across. So again, I've got my right buttock still in contact with the floor and I'm just feeling that opening now start to happen in my outer thigh, outer hip area. Try and enjoy that because these muscles get really tight and they're the ones that tend to pull the kneecaps out of place and cause knee problems. So from here, I'm also checking that my ankle joint's straight so I haven't sort of dropped the foot, but in a moment, we are going to do that to get an extra little stretch here in the outer calf. So if you can let the big toe move to the floor and the little toe draw out to the ceiling, and we're opening up that outer ankle, and hopefully you're now feeling a stronger sensation from the ankle to the outer knee. And then we'll let that go. So we're going to re-straighten the ankle joint up. And this is moving into our first twist, so we don't need to go all the way. Right arm out along the floor, just shoulder height. And then I'm going to let my left leg roll to the left as well as taking this right leg across. And I'm keeping that top leg in line with the top hip. So I'm not trying to take my foot to the floor. I've got both shoulders on the ground. And if you want, you could look down the right arm or just stay looking up to the ceiling. But we've got a nice little twist going here and we're opening into this glute buttock area, lower back. And hopefully the breath is still comfortable and relaxed. We're going to release, we'll come back up. And then we'll bend the left knee, we're going to soften the right, switch it over, keep the right knee bent, foot on the floor. And then we find that comfortable position with just a little bit of sensation of stretch in that left leg. And I've got my pelvis level, sacrum's on the floor, feeling grounded and thinking of this leg just dropping down into his hip joint. And remember, if your hands get tied, you can always wrap the straps around the hand, just let them hang. So now let's extend foot up towards the ceiling. And then we'll take it towards the floor. That's pretty intense. And then again, we're going to go up towards the ceiling. And then down towards the floor. And then find that happy midpoint where it's not all the way up or all the way down, just a little bit in between. And as we've had a little time here now, you might find that as you exhale, you could possibly bring that leg a little more into the stretch. And see if you can work with your breath. So I'm relaxing on the inhale, and then exhale, maybe getting a little bit more out of the stretch, but not tensing up with it, just softening. Maybe on the breath in I can ease it off again. Exhale a little bit more. So yes, we want a good sensation of stretch, but we don't want to be sort of gritting our teeth with it and shaking and fighting with it. So if that is the case, back it off a little bit, soften, relax, and then ease back into it again. Now, if you have got your foot more over the chest or the head, then you might need to back it off just a little bit. So I've got my heel more in line with my hip. And we're going to change hands. So I'm holding with my left hand now. Again, you could wrap the strap around that. Extend the right leg out along the floor. And then on the exhale, we begin to take that left leg out to the left side, looking for that inner thigh stretch. And it could be different this side. So again, if you want a little bit of extra support, you can bring that brick in and support the outer hip. If you don't need the support, awesome. You can either have your right hand pressing down that right thigh, because remember the buttock stays on the floor, or you could take the right arm out to the side. And we think of creating that shape of triangle pose that we do when we're standing. So noticing the inner thigh muscles opening up, broadness across the pelvis here, the hips, and shoulders relaxed on the floor. And I'm actively pressing down through my right thigh to the ground. So next breath in, we'll bring that leg back up. I'm going to switch the hands. Little movements, so my left buttock stays on the floor. I'm just going to bring it slightly across, keeping the ankle joint straight at this point. And already I'm feeling this opening in my outer left thigh hip area. And that's what I'm looking for. You could have this arm out shoulder height or beside the body, whatever's comfortable. And if you want to add that little extra opening for the cuff, outer calf here, just roll the foot. So I've got big toe to floor, opening up the outer ankle joint there. And then we'll straighten that ankle back up. And now we're going to continue over to the right. So let the right foot roll as we bring the left leg over. And I'm keeping that top leg in line with this top hip. So now my buttocks off the floor, but both shoulders are staying on the ground. Breathing into the belly. So again, try not to add tension where I don't need to. So soft face. Relax into the chest, into the ribs. The legs are quite active, but the upper body can be a little bit more relaxed. Okay, calming back out. So let's breathe in. And once we're back up, we're going to bend the knee and the right knee, take the strap off. Okay, from here, both feet stay on the floor, feet are roughly hip width. Let's just go for a nice loose little roll side to side. You might feel that in your buttock muscles. Fabulous. Okay, from here, we're going to roll over onto hands and knees. Now, if you want extra padding underneath your knees, feel free to put another blanket down. And we're coming into our cat pose, Majrasana. So we've got shoulders roughly over our wrists, hips over our knees. We'll do a nice little cat-cow roll as we breathe in. Lift the sit bones, little dip through the back, gaze forwards. And then on the exhale, tailbone down, navel drawing in, relax the head. So we're just going to roll with the breath. You might want to add a little pelvic floor action. So we soften the pelvic floor on the inhale And on the exhale, we draw up nice and strong. And we'll do that one more time. So if you're not sure, think of the tailbone, tip of the tailbone and the pubic bone squeezing in towards each other, as well as the sit bone squeezing in and up. That's going to activate our pelvic floor. Okay, we'll come back to neutral and moving into what we call thread the needle. So from here, I'm going to take my right shoulder to the floor with the right arm coming underneath, head resting on the ground. You can reposition your left hand if you like, and then we just do a little push with that left hand so that we're opening up the back of the right shoulder. It's also a twist. I've got my hips still stacked over my knees. All right, we're going to come back out and then we'll thread the left arm underneath. So ear to floor and then just a little push with that right hand rolling onto the shoulder. All right, let's release, come back out. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm finding I'm losing a little bit of my upper body core strength. And so I've had to reintroduce back into my personal practice. And a nice gentle way to begin with that is what I call yogic push-ups. So I thought we might try a few of those today. Yogic push-ups means that we want to keep the elbows in tight to the body. So rather than elbows coming out to the sides, what we're going to try and do is we can keep the knees on the floor for this one, but we're going to come forward, shoulders stacked over wrists, bend the elbows back to the hips, take the head, chest down, keep them tucked in tight with those elbows, and then we push back up. So that's a yogic push-up. So it's not that sort of action. Elbows back in and back up. So this is going to work your triceps, your deltoids, and we should be having good core engagement because I want a straight line from those shoulders to knees. So if you can, let's try doing some yogic push-ups. If you find that, oh my God, that's a little bit too much, then you can do what we call ladies push-ups, which is elbows out to sides, like so. So give you a front view. That's a modified version, but if we can do that yogic one, I'd come forwards, down, and up. So we're going to do at least 5. Keen beans, you can do 10. See how you go. So off we go. Breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be plenty for you. Or you could do a few more. That'll make my last one. Okay, we're going to come back into a child pose. So you may want to keep the arms out in front, maybe take the knees a little wider, rest the head on the floor, or feel free to rest the head on the hands, but we want to relax those shoulders, those arms. And good thing about those little movements is you should feel warmer. A good way to start warming up the system when we're using all those muscles. All right, inhale, coming back out of your child. And let's come onto the knees. We'll just do some shoulder shrugs after that little workout. And the other way. So if you do like to have, a strong inversion practice, if you like doing handstands, headstands, you've got to keep those muscles working. You can't just do those postures without training for them. So that's how I train. Okay, rotate the wrists. We're going to be moving into downward dog Svanasana. So let's have those hands a little further in front. Spread the fingers out. Feet about hip width, toes under. Nice deep breath in. On the exhale, lift the knees. And let's ease the hips back. You don't have to straighten the legs straight away. Let's just, walk it out a little bit. Notice how the ankles are moving. Can we relax those shoulders a little bit more? And then easing back. So my head is relaxed between the upper arms. I'm just looking at my toes and checking that my feet look straight. Starting to lift those kneecaps. by firming up the thighs. And I'm feeling that nice extension down through the back of the legs. But I'm also trying to keep my spine nice and long. All right, so when you're ready to come back down, we'll take both knees to the floor. And again, we're going to give those arms a rest. Any way you like to come into a restive child pose. And it's also got the head upside down, so that could be your version or your choice of inversion. Just doing a lovely downward dog position. All right, let's come forwards again. Hands in front. Relax those shoulders back. So I don't want to have these shoulders up around my ears. I'm going to sort of bring them up and then shrug them down and back. And you want that sense of your shoulder blades being nice and snug on your rib cage. And we want to keep them there when we come back to our downward dog. So toes tucked under. Inhale, exhale back. Finding that comfortable position. So I'm checking that my hands are nice and grounded. And I'm pressing through my fingertips, my knuckles, my palms. So I've got good support there. I'm reaching away through my heels, regardless of if they reach the floor or not. And then from here, let's lift the heels way up. Lift the sit bones up. A little bit more extension. And then we'll soften the knees. We'll walk the feet up to the hands. So knees will be nice and soft. And then, again, we're just going to keep the knees soft. Let's roll into the wrists. And then we'll go the other way. Okay, and then from here, we're going to bend those knees. So check the knees are in line with the toes. And then bringing the head and the heart a little higher, we're going to take the arms behind. And from here, can you maybe take the heels off the floor? Breathing in. So just good strength work for those ankles. All right, we're going to inhale. As we come up, we can bring the heels down. Okay, and shake it out. So we're ready for some standing postures. Beginning with Trikonasana. So we're going to be sideways on our mat. And we'll step that right foot out. So nice if you can have that right foot in the middle of the mat. Big step back with the left. And I've got my feet roughly in line. Key though is that back left foot is slightly turned in. So I'm pushing away through the heel. And then I'm going to place the hands on the top of the pelvis and just allow a little bit of movement here with the hips. Noticing how that feels. Okay, so we're not going to try and keep these hips fixed to the front. We're going to let them turn off a little bit. But at the same time, I don't want to collapse all the way towards that right foot. So just a little bit. Okay, breathing in, both arms out. And then shoulders relaxed. We're going to exhale, extend over the right leg. And think of trying to get length in the side body. So to do that, I'm drawing my right hip in as I reach out through my fingertips. And then I'm going to come back. Nice breath in. Exhale, extend. Legs are strong. Breathing in. Exhale, extend. Lots of length. All right, inhale. Let's come back. Pivot the feet. We'll do the same thing on our left side. And then from here, I've got my back foot slightly turned in. Again, we're going to go for the nice little hip roll. Oh, got a little clunk there. That's why we do this sort of stuff. And then we'll come back. So I don't want to be all the way over here. I don't want to be trying fixed here. I just want to let it ease off a little bit. Breathe out. Then we'll go for the extension. At the same time, my left hip will draw back a little bit. So on the exhale, glide over the left leg. Breathing, come back to center. Exhale, glide. Lots of length in the side body. We've got one more to go. Lots of length. Come back to center. release. All right, so let's go a little deeper. Back to our right side. If you want, you could use a brick and put your hand on a brick. And if that was the case, I would have it near your calf or your shin. So, you know, maybe around there. But you can also just put the hand anywhere on the leg as well. So from here, again, I'm just checking I've got my feet in line. I'm now stretching it out that little bit more because we've warmed up. And we'll take both arms out. So inhale. Exhale, glide over that right leg. So remember the hip moves back, lots of length in the side body. And then we can take the hand to the brick, to our shin. Top arm, if okay, coming up. Or you can just rest it here on the hip. But we're going to relax the shoulders back. So really lift through the sternum. And think of your sacrum. So sacrum's a little bit like a triangle. Think of it pointing towards your back left heel. So it's angling off in that direction. And I've got this little rotation happening in the upper body. I can look up to the top arm, or I can look straight ahead. Just make sure your head's not dropped. So I'm trying to keep this head in line with the rest of my spine. And anytime you want to come out, of course you can. If you're comfortable, great. If you are going to be coming out shortly, or we all are, take the hand off if you can, and then press through the feet, inhale, all the way back up. So I want to find that core strength to come out. All right, changing. So let's pivot. And again, I'm just checking I've got my feet roughly in line, back foot turned in. I've gone for my slightly longer stance. Inhale up, exhale, glide over. Lots and lots of length, either hand to hip or to the sky as we take the other one down. And then I'm thinking about relaxing these shoulders, lifting, opening the chest. And think of that sacrum angling off to the right heel. I'm now focusing on my breath. So making sure I can send it into the lower lungs, but I'm not holding it. Legs are working strong. Now before we come out, I want to find a bit of that core strength. So as soon as you take the weight off that bottom hand, you know all these muscles begin to kick in. So they're the ones we want as we lift and release. Walk the feet back in. Let's come back to Tadasana, our mountain pose. So you can either have the feet together or slightly apart. I'm just going to soften everything up a little bit. And then drawing up from the floor. So it's like I'm lifting up through the legs, relaxing the buttock flesh to the ground, chin parallel to floor, feeling centered, equal on both sides ideally. Okay, so our next set of postures are all going to be done facing the short end of the mat. So sometimes I may turn around and show you the front view for the camera. We'll see how we go. So with this one, you could have 2 bricks either side. I think we did this one last week. Last week we focused a lot on our hamstring stretches, and we used that in this posture, which was chest to leg extension. So if you really need to have a break, you know, come out at any time, bend the knees, and you can put your hands on the bricks. But to start with, we are going to have the right foot forwards. It's on my right side of the mat. And my left foot, I've stepped back, it's on the left side. So I've got hip width distance at least between my feet. They're not in line. Because I want to be able to have my shoulders and my hips facing that top end of the mat. So we're going to keep the legs straight and then bringing the hands behind the body. So you've got a choice. If you can do backward prayer, awesome, but not everybody can. So the other choice is to grab your forearms. And you can see, you know, I can't reach my elbows, but lots of people can. So that's great as well. So any of those options, the key is we're trying to keep the shoulders back and the chest open. So any way you can have the hands behind. If none of those options are comfortable, just keep them on the hips. So we want that beautiful, nice open chest. And you can see how it's creating a little bit of an extra back arch in my spine. So that's okay as long as I'm sort of relaxing. I'm not sort of trying to kick my buttocks up. I'm trying to relax them a little bit to the floor as I lift my sternum, lift my chest. You can take the gaze up if that's comfortable. So it's a mini little back bend. And then we'll come back to our center, legs strong, kneecaps lifted. And we're going to fold halfway if possible. So let's come down and watch that the shoulders are staying level. Now this is already getting pretty strong for some people, so feel free to stay here. If it's comfortable, you can go a little deeper, but we're just going halfway. Low we go, you're going to notice the legs really have to work. So I'm pressing down through my feet. I'm drawing up through the leg muscles. All right, we're going to press through the feet. Inhale, come back up. Let that go. Shrug out the shoulders. I'm going to change sides. So again, I'm checking I've got my feet hip width apart. Feet are pointing as much as they can to the top of the mat. Now if you did the forearm hold, try and have the other arm on top. If you did the backward prayer hold, it's going to be exactly the same, or just hands on the hips. So once more, arms behind. Keeping the legs straight, relax the buttocks down a little bit as we lift the chest, maybe take the gaze up. So really opening up that front rib cage. And then we'll come back to neutral. And then from here, we start to slowly ease forwards. So maybe you can stop anywhere along the journey, because it is pretty intense. Or just coming to that halfway point. So I'm trying to keep my shoulders level. There's a tendency to drop one side. And I'm really working my leg muscles now to keep my upper body here. Steady breath. Watch that you don't drop the head or have it cranked forwards trying to look at the video. So you want your neck neutral, just looking at the floor. Okay, press through the feet. Inhale, let's make our way back out. Release the arms. Step back out, and again, nice little shrug out. So if you've got tight shoulders, I do, you might find that that's a little bit difficult with the arms behind the back. We're going to take that slightly further if we can, more into our chest to leg extension. So if you find it's too much with the arms behind the body, again, you can just put the hands on the hips, or maybe if you're going a little bit deeper to the floor, you can put your hands on bricks or the floor. So let's go back to the right side and choose your start position, whether it's holding forearms. I might try that this time. I'm going to breathe in, exhale, releasing down, keeping my neck nice and neutral, and then seeing if I can fold a little bit deeper. But still keeping my shoulders level. I'm also trying to keep my hips level, so I'm drawing back strong with this outer right thigh, right hip. And then I'm going to release my hands to the floor, or floor might be a little bit ambitious. Lift the hands higher onto some supports if you like, or you could even hold on to your front shin if you don't have any bricks. And we're really trying to get that length in the spine. So I'm reaching back through the tailbone, out through the crown of the head. If you want to go deeper, feel free to fold. You could place the head on the knee or the shin. I'm pretty happy just here. That's doing enough for me. And I can tell, because if I go deeper, I'll start to grip my teeth, which I don't want to do. But I'm getting a good strong stretch here. Okay, now to come out, if you have gone lower, might be nicer to bend the knee, take the gaze forwards, bring the arms back, and then use the legs to push out. And let's step out. Oh. So maybe not as intense as last week, but still pretty intense. Left foot, let's bring it forwards. Right foot, right side of the mat. Okay, either hands on hips or arms beside the body, switch the hands, or backward prayer also works. Breathe in, exhale, folding forwards. Take your time. So I'm trying to keep the shoulders level. I'm trying to keep my hips pretty level, so I'm not sort of, dropping off to one side. If you're going a little deeper, you may want to release the hands and either put them on supports or the floor. And then I'm working my left thigh, left hip back. Again, trying to keep my head neutral at this point, long spine. If you want, you can release a little closer towards that front shin. Just see how it feels. Full posture, this is all done with the hands behind the back, but that can be a little bit much for some of us. And then to come out, we're going to bend the knee. Breathe in, push through the legs, maybe hands on hips, and release. Okay. Shake it out. You can certainly feel those glute muscles and hamstrings now. Okay, from here, let's come back to warrior one. So now we're going to bend the front knee. So we'll have right foot forward, same feet set up as we just had. But from here, we'll start with the hands on the hips and we just bend the knee over the ankle there. Think of that extension down through your left heel. So we're looking for that stretch through the back leg. And then with your pelvis, so if we tilt the pelvis forwards and lift the buttocks up, that helps us forward bend, but we lose the opening in the left thigh and the left hip. So can we relax the buttock flesh down, lift the front of the pelvis up a little bit, and now you should feel a bit more opening in your left thigh, left hip. So let's place the hands at the heart center, thumbs touching the sternum, shoulders down and back. So I'm trying to keep this length in my lower back. And then you can either leave the hands here or inhale and take them up towards the ceiling, warrior one. Gaze either up or straight ahead, but back of the neck is nice and long. If you prefer, you can take the arms out wider if that feels better. Strong legs. Really feel that connection with the ground through the soles of the feet. Okay, we'll release the arms back down. Step back out. Change sides. And then from here, we're going to bend the knee. Think about this pelvic position. So I don't want it tilted forwards. I'm actually going to relax down with the buttocks and have a little bit of lift at the front here. So I'm now feeling this in my right thigh, opening up that right hip a little more. Lengthen through the spine, shoulders down and back. Keep them relaxed, thumbs to the heart center. Either staying here or extending the arms up or going wider, whatever feels good. Breathing into that front open body. But really extending down through that right heel. Very grounded through the feet. And then we'll release hands out and step back out. Now, we'll take that to warrior number 3. So this requires a little bit more effort. You could use the wall, so you may, or if you've got a table nearby or a bench, etc., or back of the chair, you could use that. So if you're using a wall or a support, just do a little quick measure, your half dog from that support, and then step away from there. So what we'll be doing is coming from our warrior 1 and then moving into our warrior 3 with the action trying to keep these hips level. Now, if you want a bit more challenge, no support with the hands, we'll start from our warrior 1 position. So this time I'm going to interlock my hands. I've got my index finger pointed up, shoulders relaxed, and I want to keep these arms next to my ears. So I'm going to breathe in, and then as I exhale, transfer the weight to the right foot. Left foot comes off the floor. As I lift the left leg up, right foot comes down. Whoops. As I lift the left leg up, the body comes down. Right foot needs to stay on the floor there. And I'm trying to get a straight line. It's really tricky to get a good alignment in this position. I can already feel my left hip tilting up. I'm sort of dropping into my right side. And I've had enough already, so I'm going to come out. But you want to bend the knee and we come back to our warrior. So we're trying to keep the shoulders level. We're trying to keep the hips level. And that's really tough to do when we're also trying to keep our balance. So that's why sometimes using the support will actually give us a better alignment in this pose. So let's try the other side. We'll have the left foot forwards and either measuring away from the wall or the support. Front knee bent. Let's take the arms up. Shoulders relaxed. Warrior one. Now, transfer weight to left foot. And then keeping those arms next to the ears, start to lift the right leg. I'm trying to keep my hips level, my shoulders level. And as I lift my right leg up, the body comes down. And already my right hip's now just starting to lift. It's really, really hard to get that all working together. And I've got to keep breathing, reaching out. All right, bend the knee. Let's come back out. Let that go. And soft knees, let's go for a nice little swing. So lots of strength there, not only in the legs, but lots of core strength as well, back strength. And concentration, because it is a balance. All right, now, our next pose, same feet set up, and we're going for the revolved triangle pose. So for this one, you really might want to have something to put a hand on. So I'm going to have my brick out the front there. Right foot will be forwards, left foot back. If your left heel comes off the floor when we go into this, that's okay, but just keep extending through the heel as much as you can. So the legs are pointing to the top of the mat. And then the upper body's going to be twisting to the right. So here in the pelvis, that's the center of the pose. The more we can keep this area nice and firm and gripping, the easier it's going to be to hold this pose. So think of pulling in all the muscles, sort of hugging into the midline of the body in this area. So from here, keep the right hand on the hip, take the left arm out, nice deep breath in. As we exhale, we're going to reach forwards. We can place the hand on the brick. I've just got a big toe side to start off with. Your choice of, hand position. I quite like knuckles. And then draw back and squeeze these outer thighs, outer hips. So, create that stability here around the pelvis and the hips. So if I hang to the floor, it's very hard to rotate. So when I inhale, lift the head, lift the chest as I take myself into the twist. So I'm relaxing the shoulder back. I'm trying to move my left ribs forwards and just see how that feels. Now you may want to keep the hand here. It may feel okay, but if it's sort of, scrunching around the shoulder, keep it down and we reach up and squeeze those outer hips. Okay, we're going to face the floor, bend the front knee, push and come back out. We'll change sides. So I'll give you a front on view for this one. Left foot forwards. So you can see I've got my hip width distance in my feet. Hands on the hips. Okay, breathing in, right arm forwards. Exhale, extend, lots of length. Bring the hand down, you find your comfy position. And then squeeze these outer hips in towards the midline of the body. Drop through the legs. Inhale, lift the head, lift the chest. As we exhale, we're going to turn and rotate. I'm trying to relax my left shoulder back on top of my right shoulder. And if that feels good, you've got the rotation, you can take the top arm up. But if you don't, just keep it here on the hip. Keep squeezing these outer thighs, outer hips. That's going to keep you most stable. Reach through that right heel. We'll come back down, bend the knee, stepping back out. Shake it out. So we're going to do that again. That was a warm-up. This time you've got the choice. You could place the hand on the shin. You could bring the brick across to little toe side of foot. I quite like to, if I can, reach, I put my hand on my foot. I get that opposite hand-foot connection, which is good for our brain. So let's go to the right side. Choose whether you want to use a brick or not, and which side. You can always keep a big toe side. That's going to be a little bit easier on the twists. And then we'll start from our base, squeezing out of thighs. Nice deep breath in. Left arm forwards, exhale, over and across. Choose your hand position. Inhale, lift the head, lift the chest. Squeeze again, keep this strong, legs are working. If you want, at the top arm, it's a little bit more rotation now that I've gone further over with my hand. And breathe, that's the tricky bit. Try talking as you do this. Okay, top arm down. Bend the knee. Push to come back out. Release, relax. So, quite a tough one. I like to bend the knee coming out just because it's a little kinder on the back. So, left foot forwards. Let's give this side a go. Your choice of hand position. So you can probably hear it in my voice. I'm already getting a little bit puffed. It takes a lot of effort, this pose. All right, hips are facing the top of the mat. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, reach forwards. Bring the hand across to wherever you're happy to rest it. Could be all the way up here. Could be over here. And then we breathe in, we lift the head, lift the chest. Keep squeezing those legs. Turn the upper body. If it feels okay, top arm up. Keep breathing. Strong legs. A few more breaths. Of course, you can come out at any time. All right, we'll face the floor. Bend the knee. Push. Shake it out. And let's go into a rest position. So, taking Uttanasana, but the comfy Uttanasana. So we're going to bend the knees, soften from the hips. Either fold the arms, rest the head, or you can rest the elbows, or you can touch the floor, whatever feels good. But it's a chance to let go. Okay, so coming out, check knees in line with feet. Feet are roughly hip width. Bend the knees a little deeper. Lift the head, lift the heart. Take the arms behind again. And if you can, see if you can lift those heels off the floor, looking forwards. Good strength work. Breathing in, push. Take the heels down. Okay, now, I did say there was quite a few standing postures today. Another balance, we're going to be doing the dancer pose, Nadarandjasana. For those with knees, a little bit like mine, if it's a bit tricky to grab hold of your foot, what you may want to do is using a strap, just place that around your foot, and then you can use that to help bring it up and hold near the strap. But if you're going to do that, you might want to also have your hand on a wall for balance, because it's a little bit tricky when you're holding onto something like that. If you can reach your foot, however, we're going to grab hold of the right foot. This is my tricky one. So you can either stay here, or you can do it freestanding. We're going to take the left arm up, either onto the wall or not, and lift through the chest. Find a gaze point that's not going to be moving, and then we start to drive or reach back through that right leg. Reach through the left hand. It's a little bit awkward trying to look at the camera from over there. And keep breathing. So this is a back bend as well as a balance. And when you're ready to come out, release, relax. So if you do feel it in your back, nice little twist just to let it go. And we'll go to the other side. So again, use a support. You could have a chair in front of you, or we're going to grab hold of left foot. Ow. Take the right foot up. Nice open chest, steady gaze. And then if you're ready, take that left foot up and away, reaching out through the right hand. Remembering that it is a back bend, so don't just tilt from the hips, keep lifting that back foot up and away. Steady breath. If you fall out, just laugh, get back in. All right, make our way back out. Once more, soft knees, nice little swing. I think we might let that go with our standing postures now. So we're going to make our way back to the floor. We'll do it via Uttanasana. You might want to grab 2 bricks if you've got tight hamstrings. And we have the feet roughly hip width apart. So hands on hips. Nice deep breath in, nice tall spine. Exhale, we're going to fold from the hip creases. So I'm trying to keep my spine nice and neutral, and this time I'm drawing up through my leg muscles. I'm just seeing where I can tilt to without starting to round into the back. I want to keep my back nice and long. Now, if you find that that's a little bit tricky, you might need those supports, or you may have to bend your knees a little bit. But if you can keep those legs straight, and we ease forwards, you may be able to touch the floor. But bear in mind, most of us can't. I'm quite lucky, I've got very open hamstrings. I'm still trying to keep my spine nice and long, so I haven't got my head cranked forwards, I haven't got my head tucked in. Just keeping this nice long neck as I ease into the pose. But remember, if it's too intense, be higher. So you've got to keep lifting these kneecaps. Thighs are really, really firm. And this is our full Uttanasana. Okay, now, if you are using bricks, you're going to have to bend your knees to touch the floor. So shift them out of the way. And, bend your knees as much as you need to reach the ground. We're going to keep the heels grounded and then walk forwards back to our downward dog. And if the heels come off the floor, that's okay. Still got that strong lift in the thighs and the knees. Shoulders are now relaxed. I'm just feeling that nice extension in the legs. And then we'll take both knees to the floor and we'll come back to child. Your version of child. And we just release and soften. And coming back up. Okay, so from here we'll go sideways on our mats, and you may want to have support for the hand, but it's not crucial. We'll have that on the right side. So we'll take the left leg out to the left, and we're going to put the right hand either on the brick or on the floor. And then from here, I'm, lifting my belly. I'm rotating through the chest. I've got my hips more or less in line here. And then transferring the weight to the right hand and lifting the left leg off the ground. Maybe take the left arm up. And then we'll come back down, hands to floor. Step back either to plank, or you can modify to half plank with knees on the ground, or you could do a forearm plank, but just a little bit of core strength here. And then we'll come back down. Now it'd be easier if we pivoted around, face the back, but I'll face this way so you can see. So we're going to take our right leg out to the side now. Either have a hand on a brick or on the floor. And then lift, turn, open the front of the body. And then transfer weight to that left hand, lifting right leg up, maybe taking right arm up. And then we'll put that leg back down, hand down, rotate. A little bit of core strength here. Modify knees, forearms, whatever you need. And then release. One small little rest. So we'll finish up with legs up the wall, Viparati Karani, one of my favourite poses. It's very rejuvenating and it's great for the nervous system and draining lymphatic fluid, venous fluid from the legs. So if you haven't got a wall nearby, chair is just as good, and it might be nice to have something soft to put underneath your sacrum. So if you've got a blanket, perhaps just fold it in half like that. You could also use a bolster if you're lucky enough to have a bolster. And I'm just going to have my little support there. There's a slight gap between the wall and the edge of my blanket. The trickiest thing people find is how to get into this pose. So, if you've got your mat over there, what you do is you actually start off the edge of your mat or your blanket or your bolster. So I've come right into the wall. I've got my right buttock actually up on the wall, not on the floor, and I've got my left hip, I'm just on the edge of my blanket there. So I'm snugged in as close as I can. Then I'm going to bring my left shoulder down and then slide the legs up. And I've now got my buttocks nice and tight into the wall, and the backs of my legs are on the wall. I've got that little bit of softness there underneath my sacrum, which is nice. And I can just release, soften and relax. I've also ended up pretty much in the center of my support because I started on the edge. So what most people tend to do, they start in the middle and then they end off their supports there. So if you've got quite tight hamstrings, you may not be able to have the buttocks in contact with the wall as well as the whole legs. So you might end up a little further away. That's okay. Now, once you've got this comfortable position, you can keep the legs together. If you want to work a little bit more on those inner thighs, you could let the legs come out. But remember, don't overstress those joints if they're a little bit susceptible. And the other choice is you could also bend the knees into a squat. So for those who've got knee problems and don't like doing standing squats, then this is another way that you can squat and get that benefit into the hip movement and also encourage that bend in the knees without the pressure. So any of these options are good. We're going to settle here just for quite a few minutes before we get ready for a pranayama and a relaxation. It is a cooling pose, so hopefully you've got something nearby that you might be able to put over yourself. You can always pause the video, grab that, and then come back into it. So in this position, soft belly. We're just letting everything sink down into the floor. If you find that your chin's jutting up, you may need to put a little bit of support underneath the head. And if you find that you're getting a bit of numbness in the feet, then you can give the toes a bit of a wriggle to encourage the blood back up there. But this is my go-to pose. So whenever, in the good old days when we travelled, and we do a lot of driving or you fly somewhere, I always find fluid pulls in my legs. So as soon as I get to my destination or I'm in transit somewhere, This is the first posture I will do. I'll put my legs up and I can stay here for a good half hour. Not that we will today. And, if you do suffer from fluid retention, you'll find that, after you've spent a good amount of time here, you're going to have to go to the toilet. It's good. It's flushing out that fluid. And the best thing about this posture is pretty much anyone can do it. It's pretty safe for just about all of us. So good for our nervous system, very calming. Chair version is just, resting the legs on top of the chair here with the edge at the back of the knees, and that's also fantastic as well. Now, you may want to do your relaxation in this position. I have lots of students that like to spend their whole relaxation in this posture, so if that is the case, you want to make sure that you're going to be warm enough. We are going to move into a pranayama practice. So to get out, just soften the knees and then we roll over, preferably to the right if you can. Take your time coming up because it is considered an inversion, it's upside down. So no rush. Use both hands to ease yourself back up. And, certainly don't rush to come up to standing. Take your time. So comfortable position for our pranayama practice. Today we're going to do just a few rounds of alternate nostril breathing. I'm definitely going to be putting a jumper on. So I recommend that you do too. Whatever you need for your relaxation, get that set up now as well, so that you won't have to disturb yourself too much once we head there. And you can sit in a chair, you don't have to sit on the floor. Ideally what we want is a nice straight spine and, preferably the knees in line or a little lower than the hips if that's a possibility. Okay, so hopefully you've got yourselves ready. Tall spine, and we're going to use the right hand to direct the flow of breath through the nostrils. Be very gentle. You can either use the edge of the nostrils. I quite like to press just where the cartilage ends. Right thumb to block right nostril. Index and middle finger either at the eyebrow centre or tucked into the palm. And the ring finger on the left nostril with the little finger supporting. So we're going to breathe in through our left side first. So when you're ready, blocking the right nostril, inhale through your left. We then close the left nostril, release the thumb and exhale. Breathe in through the right. Close with the thumb. And release with the left and exhale. That's one round. You can either close the eyes or keep the gaze nice and soft to the floor. So continue in that pattern in through left. Out through right. And then in through right. And out through left. Anytime this becomes uncomfortable, just go back to normal breathing. You may want to visualize it instead of actually doing it. And we think of that breath rising up to the eyebrow center, moving down the side of the triangle out through the nostrils. So you may want to keep that focus at the eyebrow center, Ajna chakra, our seat of intuition, internal wisdom. And if you like colour, you can think of a soft lilac colour. So we'll do one more round. And then when you finish that, exhale through your left nostril. Release the hand back down. Breathe through both nostrils. Noticing any effects from the practice. And then without disturbing yourself too much, lying down if you prefer, or legs up the wall, but getting that comfortable position for our relaxation. And today we're going to be doing a visualization on the colours of the chakras, the qualities. So comfy position. And to get the body settled a little bit easier, you may want to tense as you breathe in and let go as you exhale. So taking a nice deep breath in and just tensing the legs and the feet. And then on the exhalation, relaxing, letting go. And then do the same with the arms and the hands as you breathe in, tense the arms and the hands. And letting go on that exhalation. And then the whole body, nice deep breath in, tense the front, the back, the arms, the legs. And then as you exhale, let it go. And allowing the breath to soften, the whole body to gently sink into the floor. And as you feel yourself supported by the ground, imagine that there is a beautiful red fabric that is floating above your body. It's a lovely warm red, any kind of fabric you like. And that red fabric floats down to cover your whole body from head to toe. And you can feel it covering the body. And imagine your body soaking up that red colour, taking in its warmth, giving you a sense of feeling safe and grounded, until all of that red is absorbed into your body. And then imagine a beautiful orange fabric floating above you now. It's a really vibrant orange. And that fabric gently floats down towards you, covering you from head to toe. And you can feel your body beginning to soak up that vibrant orange. And as you absorb it into your body, you have a sense of joy and enthusiasm. You feel creative. Just aware of all the things you feel passionate about. So now you see a bright yellow fabric floating above you. And you watch it as it gently floats down to cover you from head to toe. You feel your body soaking up that yellow, taking in its brightness. Also feeling self-confidence seeping through your whole body as you absorb the yellow. You have a sense of being focused and empowered. And now a beautiful green fabric floats above you. It's a very soft, gentle green. Slowly coming down to cover you from head to toe. And as you feel the green fabric and its colour being absorbed into your body, you take in its softness. You feel an expansion of compassion and love for yourself and for others. And the next fabric is blue. A lovely clear blue fabric floating. Gently caresses the body as it covers you from head to toe. Your body soaks up that blue, taking in its clearness, its clarity. You feel a peace, you trust. As you draw in the blue, it gives you clear speech and thought. And the next fabric is a purple, a very soft lilac fabric. It comes down to cover your body from head to toe. You take in that richness, that softness of the purple. Feel it being absorbed. You feel that connection with your intuition, your inner voice of wisdom. And finally, there's a fabric of indigo, the deep, rich blue, purple. It floats down, it covers you head to toe. And your body soaks up that indigo, taking in its depth. And as it gets absorbed into your body, you feel that connection of your spirit, connection to the universe, that universal consciousness, and embrace the unity of all beings. And then just observing if there's any particular colour that your body would like to take up more of. And imagine that you are now soaking up that extra special colour. And then coming back to the physical world, back through the rainbow of colours of indigo, purple, blue, the soft green, bright yellow, vibrant orange, and the warm red. And drawing a deeper breath in. And as you next breathe in, beginning to move into the hands and the feet, observing the sounds. What can you hear in the room? What can you hear out of the room? And when you're ready, gently opening the eyes. Moving in any way feels comfortable to move. And then rolling over to one side, coming up to sit. And this week's quote is from Robert Brault. He says, "Enjoy the little things. For one day you may look back and realise they were the big things." And we'll finish with the hands together. Namaste. Have an excellent rest of your week and enjoy the sun if you have sun at this point, and embrace the cold weather. Thank you very much.